All right, welcome to the Oliver Reigns edition, the Oliver Reigns Victory edition of the Coach's Corner. My name is Kevin Papa. With me, as always, to my right is the coach, Ian Bain. Coach, nice to get back on the winning scale.
Yeah, always good to get a win.
It was a nice 26-6 victory. Moves us to 3-1.
Yes.
As we enter the Mansfield week. Let's take a look at the game. I thought, for a team perspective, we did pretty well. Put up 370 some odd yards offense.
Yeah, it was. We were pretty productive. Had some really big plays and some good chunk plays throughout the game.
And the defense played well. I saw a stat that they give 0 passing yards. I find it hard to believe because I saw a completion somewhere in there.
Well, the last play of the game was a completion for a touchdown. Other than that, none come to mind. We had a couple interceptions. They're not a heavy passing team.
No.
But we were pretty good on the back end, staying true to our keys and our reads and not getting caught up in the play action.
All right, so let's take a look at the game. Slow start for the defense. Much like the end of the KP game, I think Oliver Ames went on a 12-play, 59-yard ball running drive to start the game.
Yeah, they came out in an adjustment that we were ready for, but it was kind of a variation of something pretty unique that they did, bringing tackles over, and that was one of the things that we had to pick up on early. And that they've done a good job in all of their games is they always have one little wrinkle that's a little bit newer, whether it's, again, an unbalanced set, tackle over, covering up a tight end, which they did at one point, and that was a completed pass, but there was a penalty on it. So they do a lot of very tricky things with their formations. In that first drive, they had come out in something that we were prepared for, but just maybe not exactly the way that they presented it. So it was just a quick adjustment. We were able to kind of settle down at that point, but they caught us off guard a little bit at the start.
And we get a 4th and 4 stop.
Yeah.
In our end, which was nice. And then we come out on offense 2 plays, and then the third play is Gasparo to Davis, which doesn't seem old yet. Looked like a double move by Jake and a nice pump to freeze the cornerback by Tommy.
Yeah, we got him into a trips adjustment, which sort of meant we would get one-on-one coverage on Jake. If they played super soft and the double move didn't work, we would have had Nally underneath on a crosser. But since the double move shook open, that was the first look. And then we kind of had a built-in progression, kind of which would gradually kind of check back from Jake to Nally to Laz to Cole. And but we only got through the first one, and happened to be a touchdown.
And when you say super soft, for those who don't know what that is, what is it?
The corner was playing off, but sort of aggressive enough that he bit on the hitch route, which we ran at about almost first down depth. It's third down, so sometimes what teams will do is they'll play a sticks coverage where they're going to play, if it's 3rd and 10, they'll play at 11, or they'll play at 10 and give to 11 and expect the route to be at about 10, 11 yards, and then they're going to pounce on it. So we sort of wanted to see if we could get that, and if they just bailed on the snap, then we would have had Nally filling that void. So it was a kind of a play design for that situation and that coverage. Certainly not a play we would run against a press team or a man team, but just kind of the way that they sat at the sticks. We thought it'd be a good opportunity to run that particular play.
And it sort of got to shock them. They go on a long drive, stall, and then boom, 3 plays later, it's a 70-yard touchdown.
And it was 3rd and 10, which is a low percentage third down drive coming off a game where we were 0 for 5 on third down against KP. So we were actually pretty good on third down in this particular game. We had a pretty good plan and were able to execute it.
Okay, and then the defense comes back on. They go 6. They get off the field 6 plays. They give it 1 first down. We get into the second quarter, and that's going to bring us to our drive of the game. And that's going to start with a punt. Gula gets the punt and goes 14 yards. And that sets up your offense.
Yeah, Mac did a good job stepping up. Obviously, Greco was a really good punt returner the last 2 years, so we couldn't go to him. And then Lakatos has been, he's good now, but he didn't practice a lot that week in terms of returning punts because he was coming off of a contusion. So we decided to put Mac back there to take all the practice reps, and since he did, although Cole was healthy and could have easily done it as he played the whole game on offense, we just decided to go with the guy that got all the practice reps there, and Mac did a really nice job.
And it's really nice to start off with a 14-yard return on a kick. That brings us to first down. Owen Palmieri breaks off a huge 16-yard run. Really good blocking on the play.
Yeah, they came out similar to their offense in a totally different defense. They hadn't been in a 3-down front at all. And even off of that 3-down front, they were dropping ends. So sometimes it was almost like they had 2 down linemen. which was something unique, very creative by them, certainly something we had to adjust to. So Sam Rosen came up with the idea to run a gap run, basically a version of one back power. And it's also a counter action for us. It's something that we have not run in any game yet this year, but against that look, we liked it, and that was the first play of that drive. We just basically put it in on the sideline. We had installed it in training camp, but we hadn't come back to it because we just hadn't seen the look for it that we really wanted in a couple of weeks. So it was nice to see that, see our guys adjust, and obviously the lane opened up quite nice.
Yeah, so you get a nice 16-yard run there. We go a couple plays, 3rd and 11. Like you said, we had a couple big 3rd down plays. Tommy hits last for 22 yards. It looked like, while watching the tape, he was almost his 3rd read on that.
Yeah, so the concept is the same. It's a 3 vertical concept. We call it a cross, a crossing route. But basically, what we do is whoever's running the crossing route, in that case, Matt Lazarus, will always run some sort of high-low to the other side. So it could be a fade with an out route. It could be a hitch with a corner route. That particular time, we ran a screen and go combo. So again, still a high-low. That's Tommy's first look. We're thinking, all right, we got this guy's on a double move already once. Sometimes on 3rd and long, teams expect screen. So sometimes they're yelling, hey, look for screen, look for screen. They didn't bite on the screen fake, but that's fine. But the action, the pump, Tommy's eyes gets the defense to move one way. Plus we had play action going back the other way with Owen before the pump. So there's just a lot of things for the defense to look at. It really opened up a nice soft spot. It wasn't a huge window to throw it, but the movement by both Owen with the play action, the screen and go action with the high-low, opened up a nice pocket at about 14 to 16 yards. We're trying to hit in there on the crossing route, which is about where it was. Kind of a quick catch, quick pop by the safety. The Laz is a big boy, and we were able to get the first down.
And then we go a couple more plays. And after that, we get to 3rd and 13, again 3rd down, and again Tom Gasparo to Jake Davis. This time it's 21 yards. At first, I didn't know if he was freelancing the route, but it looked like that was the route.
Yeah.
Got caught up, tangled up with the guy a little bit. Makes a hell of a diving catch.
Yeah.
On a ball that only he's going to catch. Nobody else is catching that ball.
Right.
And that puts us up.
Yeah, that was just off of a play action jet that we run from time to time. We actually scored. It's kind of funny because usually you run the play and then run the play action later, but in that particular case, we wanted to run the play first and then later come back to the play action. Or I'm sorry, we wanted to run the play action first and later come back to the actual run. Sometimes when you introduce jet sweeps, defenses have sort of triggers that they're taught to do. And in that case, we got everybody's attention seemed to go to was to Jack and to Owen, and rightfully so, as we scored later in the game. But by doing that, it opened up the post route for Jake. And Tommy, luckily the pocket was clean too, because when you wait that long, it does take some extra time. And we were able to get that. Great concentration. We always say when we throw the ball in the end zone, we want to be back 3 yards, front 1 inch. And that ball was put in the back 3 yards of the end zone, right where it needed to be in the red area. That's really important when we have the spacing correctly.
Now you talk about a clean pocket. You can see the linemen raising their hands on that touchdown. They were all pumped up. That's a good feeling for them. All right, so we get that touchdown, and that puts us up. Parker, he ends the first half scoring with a 29-yard field goal. Looked like it was good from 39. It was nice to see him get out there. We go into halftime up 17-0. What are you saying to the team at this point?
Stay the course. Our message before the game is you don't get to pick your spots when you're great. Greatness is an all-the-time thing. If you're serious about being a champion and winning all the games, it's always a battle. I think with any coach to make sure every game is just as important as the last one. People use phrases like trap game or this is a big game, and to me that's like kind of a loser mentality. If you don't treat them all the same, then you're going to get beat and you're going to have a hard time winning consistently. So, looking back at the first half. We ran 3 plays in the first quarter. That was it. First down, second down, touchdown. Didn't get the ball again just because of the style that OA was playing, which is fine. And so we had 3 scoring opportunities. We scored 3 times, and so we felt like we still had a lot of work to do though. Didn't quite get to everything that we wanted to in the first half. So we were ready to come out strong in the second half. Didn't make a ton of adjustments, a couple things, but we were just really wanted to come out sharp.
And talk about coming out strong in the second half. I believe we go 27 seconds and Jack Nally goes 50 yards on a jet that we were just talking about a second ago. Now, is that a jet sweep? Is that a shuttle pass? Because the ball's in the air.
It's technically a pass. The reason that we do it that way is, again, we only get so many practice minutes in a week. And sometimes when you're talking about different receivers handling the ball, we'd like to think that we can run the jet sweep to any of our guys. So rather than take the time out of practice to get jet sweep reps with Nally, with Laz, with Davis, with Lakatos, they can practice those with any player or any coach because the mesh point can be a little bit more inconsistent when you're giving the pass versus when you're trying to get, he's got to be over the tackle and this guy's this speed, this guy's this speed. So now you get the ball and you can pass it. The other thing is it does give us a nice play action look, and we have some stuff off of it which we had already scored on. But it's technically a pass, but it's blocked as a jet sweep. Same thing, just philosophical difference is the only reason we do it the way we do it is more for the practice reps.
And if it's dropped, it's not fumbled.
It should be an incomplete pass, and then you move on. So again, like Jake Davis may not have had any jet sweep reps that week of practice, and we didn't run it in a game to him, but I feel like we always can because it's a pass, and we don't have to worry about the mesh point as much.
Right. All right, so at this point, the defense is playing pretty well, still pitching a shutout. Parker grabs the second field goal, this time 34 yards, looked like it would be good from 44 yards, and that'll wrap up the scoring for us. Defensively, I thought Wirtz, Jordan, and the rest of the crew played a pretty good game. Didn't give up a point, so that's a really good game.
Right.
How did the defense look?
I felt really happy. The hard thing in our challenge was wing T team, which 10 years ago you probably saw 3 wing T teams, maybe more, but it's sort of not as common. There's wing T concepts that we go against. Mansfield's going to run some wing T concepts in terms of the pulling and the motions and the actions, but it's not a true consistent wing T. And so we practice against those ideas, trap, counters, bellies, boots, all that. But to see a team run it in a very traditional sense with sort of the fullback with the offset tailback, then going unbalanced, and then the motions, and then you sequence your plays a certain way, you hide the ball a certain way, and everything is complementary football. That's really difficult. So we had to be disciplined, and to do that as well as we did, I thought in a week of time, it was good. And we settled in, and after that, there really wasn't too much more that I don't think we were ready for. I thought we handled everything else well.
A game like that, you get to empty the bench in the fourth quarter, get a lot of kids some playing time they might not normally get, and that was good to see. And it was nice to see the bench really supporting those kids in there.
Yeah, our guys support each other so well.
I think it was Donahue who made a tackle, and the whole place went crazy for him.
Yeah, I mean, and Chris, he holds for us. He does a lot of great things, and he's a great practice player. That's something that people don't get to see every day, but like Chris helps us prepare and win games, and a lot of those guys do. I mean, Alex, we've been fortunate to have
Friggy hit a nice pass in there.
Him and Tommy, and I think in a lot of programs we'd be happy to have Alex as our quarterback, but we got to make a decision, right? But Alex, the work he does every day in practice, he knows what everybody's doing. He's going to be a coach one day.
He's a sponge.
Yeah, and like he's out there completing passes against our starting defense with scout guys all around him. I mean, he does such a great job. So those guys have definitely put in so much work to earn that opportunity and earn that time. And it was great to, I wish we could have had maybe some more time, but obviously in the fourth quarter, the clock seems to tick a little faster just because the style of play changes to more of a let's get out of here mode. But I thought everybody did a great job. I thought they looked prepared, which is the most important thing. Sometimes you get in that spot and you guys aren't prepared. Our guys were, and we did some nice things.
You get Mac a series or two. It's a nice change of pace from Owen, the way Owen runs.
It is, and Owen plays a lot of defense. And looking back at the game, the score seems like it was we scored a lot of points, but we really didn't have that many plays. The play number was really low, and the possessions were really limited. So. I think if it were a different style of game or we played a team that was maybe more up-tempo, maybe we would have had another series or two and maybe even several more plays.
And you got to figure in a game like that, Owen's out there 3/4 of the night on defense,
right,
and then running the ball on offense. So that's tough road to hold. I thought overall special teams another plus. 2 field goals. which is 2 more than we've had all year, and I think the leader's got 3.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
The Drake came back with some really nice kickoffs.
Yeah, I think it
Bounce
was
back game for
maybe
him.
3 of 5 touchback.
Yeah, and no punts. So that's always a big thing.
Right.
Individually, Jake Davis, 2 touchdowns, two pickoffs. Another great game. Tommy, a couple touchdowns. Parker, 2 field goals, like we said. I thought a big thing was Laz. He had 2 or 3 catches on 3rd down that were big catches in the middle. And like we said, the defense played well. But not every game ends on a note that we really want. Health, we lose Dom Natale.
Yeah. Broken leg. He's a tough, resilient kid. Very unfortunate. Again, it is part of football, and part of being a football player is handling that and being resilient, which he will be. It just stinks because a kid like that's put in so much time and he's been a 3-year guy, for us in terms of just being in the mix and in the rotation. And he's done everything we've ever asked of him. Great citizen in the school, great ambassador for our team and the community. So that's where it really stinks. I mean, selfishly from a football perspective, yeah, we'd like to have him, 2-way player, but I think just the kind of character he has and the person he is what's the biggest loss for us. Similar to with Ben and some of our other guys. Like we're talking about high character kids that contribute a lot more than just their athleticism. So, we wish Dom the best, and I know he'll be around and helping out his replacement, but. It's a cold business sometimes when you got to just go next man up, and that's where we're at right now. We're confident in a couple guys we got ready to go, and we'll do the best we can to coach them up and get them ready.
When you lose starters like that back-to-back weeks, Ben and then Dom, is there a feeling of, wow, this is contagious here?
No, I mean it's there's a risk when you get in your car every day and take a ride to school or to work. There's a risk in about everything that you do, every day. So. It just is what it is. When you sign up to play this game, that's something you got to think about. Just like when you play basketball, you got to think about maybe it's not a broken leg, but it could be rolled ankles or other soft tissue type injuries. We just kind of got to roll the boat forward and we move on to the next phase. And just like you got to have a short memory when you win and getting ready for the next opponent, it's we don't have time to feel sorry for ourselves either. Certainly we don't like losing anybody, but and I think our guys understand that as much as they can.
And the good thing about the 3 of those guys is you see them around the field all the time. Third being Marcus Quintana. You see Marcus all the time. He's helping the freshmen out all the time.
Yeah, he's doing a great job with some of our new players too, and even a kid like Marcus who went down in the game scrimmage. He's messaging me, hey, we had misplaced Dom's backpack. He's trying to get Dom's backpack. That's the kind of team that we have. So, we'll stay together. We'll rally around everybody. But it certainly is tough.
So that brings us to Mansfield. We got Mansfield this week. Weather looks like it's going to be the same. Rainy, drizzly, 50-ish. Is that a factor in the game?
Weather's always a factor. But I think if we prepare for these situations as best that we can, and we know that we can't control the weather.
Well, the nice thing is you get to practice in it all week.
Yeah, we practice in it, and we could go out Friday and it could be sunny and beautiful too. So, I think we have these things prepared for and thought of ahead of time, and we try to every time it rains embrace the wet ball day and just try to take advantage of those repetitions. You can't say, all right, guys, we're going to practice in the rain this week in case we play, so when we get those days, we try to get excited for those days, and hopefully it carries over to when the actual games get played in the rain. But, the weather's the weather, and we'll adjust as we need to, and honestly, we don't spend that much time thinking about it. We'll see what it does at kickoff, and we'll adjust. We have enough things in, I think, our toolbox that we can make the right tweaks and adjustments for. So that's just kind of how we look at it.
What are we looking at when we see Mansfield come in?
They're a talented team as always, probably as good as we've seen from Mansfield in the 4 years we've been here. But they're always good. We're not going to say, this team versus that team was better, but they're talented all over, not a lot of weaknesses. Certainly there's opportunities with every team to take advantage of maybe some things that you like or stay away from some things that you don't like. Maybe the latter is a slimmer margin, but with Mansfield. But, they're good, but I think we've shown that we can play with anybody, and certainly, it comes down to both teams executing their game plan and being prepared and being able to adjust when the time comes. And I think we take care of the football and we tackle well and we hit and we're disciplined and we're sound in all three phases. This could certainly be anybody's game, so we're just going to take it a play at a time. And but I think everybody knows what Mansfield is and who they are, and that hasn't changed much in however many years Coach Redding has been there. So
This is Coach Redding's last year, I believe.
That's a rumor,
That's
but
what he says.
we'll see.
Okay, so this week you have Teacher Appreciation Night. You're a teacher. I'm sure you appreciate that. The following home game, or the following home game, is Parents' Night. Do things like that before the game? Do you like that? Not like that? Wish they didn't happen?
No, I love all that stuff.
You don't got the Nick Saban attitude of get this crap off the field?
It's not that at all. I think especially football, and I love all the sports, but I feel like football has a special community involvement that not every sport gets. Maybe because we just play one night a week. At least we hope that we play on Friday nights, and it's once a week. But and it can kind of be the focal point of a community. I think you see that across the country. Friday nights, everybody immediately thinks Friday nights is the fall of football, whether you play football or love football.
Sure.
And not every sport can say that. Soccer plays usually twice a week, 3 times a week, lacrosse, basketball, baseball. So that's kind of the unique and cool thing about football. And why not celebrate that? And we want to recognize our teachers and the role that they play. I think that that's really important. And I think any teacher, any good teacher tries to make an effort to get out and to see their kids in a different setting outside of the classroom, and to build on those relationships more than just in a 55-minute block or whatever you have in a day. So I think it's great. And then from the parent night perspective, the parents, they do so much for our kids, and just as demanding as we are as coaches toward our players, everything that goes for our players essentially goes for our parents. Like, hey, we're here at this time, you need to be on time. Hey, I know it's, we've got a holiday coming up and you don't have school, but unless you're celebrating that said holiday, you need to get to practice. And yeah, it's a long weekend. That's awesome. You can't go to Cape Cod. You've got practice, or you've got lift, and it goes for the summertime and managing our time. So, I think it's important that the parents are celebrated in that same regard as our seniors that put in as much time. In some cases, the parents are doing that with our player, but then they might have another kid or 2 or 4, and they're running to this practice, that practice, and
Or 2 sets of twins and a TV show.
yeah. So I don't know how they do it, but we're grateful and we're happy to celebrate both parents and teachers as they are part of our kids' lives.
Good. One quick note: rumor around the bin today was the Attleboro game got changed day and time.
Yeah, and I don't know if we can change it back. I believe it's Triple E, because Attleboro has not played any home night games yet. And I think if you look at the forecast, I don't think we're anticipating that hard frost before that game. So kind of getting out in front of it, which will move our freshman game against Attleboro, which is at our place, up to 9. And then the JV game, which would be pushed to Monday, now becomes, can we get it in and
It
schedule
might
it?
be a PSAT game day too.
That might be the same. So it's a tough. Right now, there's no JV game, but we're going to play Saturday with the varsity at 1, and we'll just go from there. But yeah, that should hopefully be out to our parents so that they can plan ahead and get ready for that.
Okay, so Friday night, 7 p.m., Mansfield. Get there early for Teacher Appreciation Night. Again, my name is Kevin Papa. With me, as always, is the coach, Ian Bain. Special shout out to 73, 32, and 5. We got your back. We'll see you next week on the Coach's Corner.